Namco Games, publisher of such classics as Pac-Man, Mappy, Pole Position, Dig Dug, Galaga, and Rolling Thunder. Yeah, I found out about this game in the Namco 50th anniversary. I got this game a couple years ago, and when I first saw it, I was like, wow. I saw it and I was like, a James Bond-like shooter on an arcade game? Sure. So, what is the quality of the game? Well, let's find out. In Rolling Thunder, you control secret agent codenamed Albatross in his journey to rescue his other agent, Leela, from the evil organization known as Geldra, led by an alien dictator Mabu, who is a giant green alien. In the game, you fight Mabu's henchmen, ape men, and giant bats, and of course, Mabu himself. The first stage of Rolling Thunder is where you're in an open hallway, and this gets you used to the controls and to the bad guys you face. The next level, you have to climb up a large stack of crates, and then walk down a very long and painful to walk down staircase covered with bad guys. One problem is that at the beginning there's this guy tossing grenades down, and if you die, you have to go back to the beginning and face off with him again. So you'll die, and die. The next level is in a cave where you're fighting panthers, bats, and fire people. The final level is where you're in a computer room, and it really tests you with swarming bad guys all over. Finally, Mabu laughs and stares at you for what feels like an eternity. And then the game surprises you with making you complete the whole thing on a harder difficulty. You may have noticed that it appears as if I'm showing two games. That's because there were two versions. One is an arcade version, and the other an unlicensed version made by Tengen. Just look at this. Tengen's strange unlicensed cartridge, and this very neat portrait on the front. The difference being the NES version is harder, and of course the graphics and sound are not as good as the arcade. There were a few computer versions made, but those graphics and the game itself were absolutely terrible, so I'll stick with the NES and PC version. The final level in the game is one of the hardest things I've ever tried to complete. Just watch. Finally, you square off with Mabu, and it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in any video game, but it is doable. In Rolling Thunder, there are only two weapons you can use, those being a pistol and a machine gun. You start off the game with 50 bullets for the pistol, but then you can unlock the machine gun by going through a door later on. The machine gun makes the game a whole lot easier with its rapid fire and high bullet capacity. Now let's talk about what enemies have. In the early stages your enemies are generally not armed, but later on they have guns. Some, like this guy, even crouch to shoot you, so you need to jump. The rest have grenades. The biggest downside to the game is the guy you play as, Albatross. He's very stiff and doesn't control fluently. I mean, just watch this. I'm walking like a robot and the jumps are locked in place. Albatross can jump while shooting, and it takes 2 hits for him to die. The arcade version's controls are a lot better and more fluent. It's much easier to control Albatross here, but it still locks your jumps, leading to many deaths. Rolling Thunder is a solid title all in all. Although it is a little bit hard to control and a little bit frustrating at times, it's still a wonderful game that you'll have lots of fun with. If you want to pick it up, I highly recommend taking the Namco compilation games. But if you want to, and you want the NES, it's still a good game.